What's going on, guys? I'm back here with Mr. Shannon Cole. He recently took our Cannington Good Games event. This past Wednesday, he went 4-0 with Iceburg, man. Out of all decks, out of all leaders, he did it with that guy. Yeah. Can't believe it. So, take us away, man.
Cool. I'll run through the matchups if you're interested first. So the first one was Gart, then yellow, mono yellow mum. We also burst a Arlong, and then lastly was a Magellan. So they were also not completely like meta decks. So I think we got a little bit of an easier run. It was my first time playing Iceburg, but still the Magellan and yellow mum, those two are like really good decks as well. So I think still getting it out of Iceburg shows that the deck has got potential there. Maybe I'll run it at a few more events, see if we can actually take it off against the more like maybe the red decks or anything. But I'll run through my strategies and like sort of how we play as Iceburg and how you can actually play to its strengths.
Cool.
So if you don't know Iceburg's leader effects, I'll just quickly go through it. He can't attack, but you can rest him and neg one Don. So if that's on your field, it can be anywhere on the field. It goes back to the Don deck. You'll be able to get a 5 cost or less Galila. And so I'll just quickly point those out to you. So we've got Paulie, Tilestone, Kaku, Rob Lucci, and also the Khalifa there. She's a 2k, but she can also be brought out if you don't have anything else. So you're going to be pretty much wanting to use that effect every single turn, and that's how you get the value off of him. He can't attack, so you really need to get a character out every single turn if you want to be using his effect and actually being able to stabilize. And if you're using his effect every turn, it gets pretty harsh on your Don pile because you're negging the Don every turn, so that's where you're going to need Galila Company. It's the island for Iceburg. It pretty just makes it so you're actually not you're just like you're net zero with like gaining and negging Don, because you gain one from Galila but you'll neg one from Iceburg, so you're not really gaining when you get it, but you're going to stop yourself from going way too low on your Don.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing with that is you're always going to force yourself to be on an odd curve. So if you're going first, don't use Iceberg's effect because you need 3 Don for Galila. However, if you're going second, when you're at 2 Don, you can neg a Don to bring out a 5 cost, and then on turn 2, you'll be at 3 Don, so you can still cast Galila and get a second 5 cost out. So either turn, you're going to be putting yourself on the 3, 5, 7, 9 Don curve. And that'll be really important with one of my picks that you'll see coming up soon. So let's run through each card in the deck. So you start with Kokoro. So she's the 1 cost searcher, and she's really important in the deck because she is going to get you Galila Company when you whiff it. She can also pick you up one of your Galila characters to play down, and if not, you'll get your 2k counter out of it. So anything she picks up is going to be great. Galila Company, we already explained that, why it's really important. Let's move on to the 5 costs. So we don't play the 5/5 that ramps Don when you attack, and the reason I don't play that is because you're wanting 5/6 bodies. Every time you get a body out, you want to get a 6k, because that's going to actually get you into the game. If you're getting a 5k body out for neg 1, like it's not good enough. So every body you get, you want it to be 6k. Tilestone here is probably the best one to get out early game, because on KO he ramps a Don. So if you get him out early and they do a big attack into him, and so you're forced to let him die, you get some benefit from it. Kaku with Banish is great against yellow. It's also great when your opponent's low on hand size. You can force them to not get cards from life. Rob Lucci is great against smaller decks because you can rest characters, and it can also force your character when they're on low hand size to be able to have to counter out of characters. So these are some really great ones. Khalifa you can get out. She has a queen effect when attacking, so it's really good if you're low on hand size or if you've got a really clunked up hand. However, you run 12 2k, so you don't want to spam her down, and she's only 4k, so prioritize getting your 6ks out, but if you don't have anything else, she's there. Paulie, he doesn't have counter, which is important, so if you're stacked with him in hand, get him out early, because otherwise he's going to sit in hand and you're not going to get him out. However, he is actually a better play when you're getting around to the 7 Don mark, because you need to pay 2 Don to get his effect, and then you need to have 8 Don on your field to get his effect of killing, to kill a 4 cost or less. So if you're less than 7 Don and you play him, you're not going to be able to kill a 4 cost. A good thing to note is when you use Iceberg's effect, you neg 1 Don. So if you neg 1 Don to play Paulie, be aware that you might then not be on 8 Don altogether, even after you've ramped, to then kill the 4 cost. So just make sure that you're counting your Don and how much you're going to neg and add. You also have to counter in Galila Company, so just make sure you go through the numbers like over and over and over again when you play Paulie. You don't want to play him and not get the KO 4 or something like that. But you can still use his effect even if you use the neg, or you can just play him down as a 5. use the 2 if you're at 7 Don. So he's really good at 7 Don because you can pay 7 for him and his effect, ramp, kill something, and then you can play another 5 costs. If you don't have him at 7 Don, another great... so this is my personal pick for the deck. This little sumo guy here.
Hiroshima. Okay.
Yeah, he seems like a weird pick, just a weird 7-9 body. I actually only ran 2 of him on the 4-0 day, and I ran 2 6-8s, but that's only because I didn't have 2 of the 7s, 2 more 7s. I wanted to run the 4 7s. And so, because you're on that 3, 5, 7, 9 curve, what you're going to be doing is at 3 Don, you're playing your island and getting a guy off your ability. 5 Don, you're playing one of your 5 costs, just straight value down, and then getting one off your ability. And then at 7 Don, you're either playing Pooley and getting one off your ability, or if you don't have Pooley, you can get this guy down, a 7-9 body, and then you're also getting another 6k body down on the exact same turn, and you'll just have this absolutely cracked field. So he's also got 1k counter, so if he's not in a good position to get him down, like maybe against blue, you're worried he's going to get bounced, or he's a bit too slow against red, you can always just counter with him, but he's there if you need him, and you can keep your Galila company characters to use for your effect rather than playing them out of hand.
Awesome.
King is a great card. Like, you might want to be playing more of him, but the thing is you've got Pooley that kills 4 costs, so we've got 6 cards in total that already kill 4 costs, so there's going to be some times where you don't need to kill 4 costs, so that can clunk in hand, so you've got to be careful. So I think 2 is the right number for King. We'll move on to the defensive cards then. So we've got our other 2Ks, so you've got X-Drake as well as Sasaki. I think these are really great cards for your 2K options. I mean, any 2Ks are going to be fine. Sasaki's great if you don't hit Island. There's sometimes where you just want to ramp a little bit more, and so he's that option. On 3 Don, you have something to play. If you don't hit Island, maybe you've got Sasaki there. X-Drake is great because in this deck, you can punish people for getting low on hand, and if they're low on hand, X-Drake can come in clutch. You play him, and then you can neg something to get something out. And then for the last 2 cards that we've got in the deck, so let's have a look. We've got probably one of the best events in the game. So you neg 3k to 2 characters. You do have to neg a dong, but this is really good, especially in this deck, I find, because all your characters are 6k. You can put your opponent's characters, if they're at 8, you can put them at like 2 8ks at 5, which means they can't even swing at your characters. So they'd be forced to swing at your life, which you would get more card draw off your life, and your characters will be safe. So it's really strong that it negs 2 things when all your bodies are 6k or above. And then we've got Queen. I mean, Queen's a great card. It's a staple in purple. If you play purple, you know that. Neg 1, you especially if you've got like Island in hand, the draw 2 discard 1 is basically draw 2 because you're getting rid of a dead card and you're drawing 2. So a 5/6 body that draws 2 is fantastic, especially when you've got ramp. It's the blocker that you want to play, and it can get you the cards you need. Like if you don't have any Galila company characters to play, it gets you them down. If you're looking for more 2Ks, it gets you them down. So it's really important. And one tip, just in general for the overall deck, is you kind of want to play for the board. And while you're playing for the board, you want to get just your 6k bodies down, protect them if you can, and just keep sort of getting multiple attacks through. You want to just do as many attacks and run them dry on hand, and then you might get low on hand as well, but you're going to have so many bodies that you can just force it through, and hopefully you can sort of just win through sort of aggroing them almost, and having these really big bodies that stick. You want to take life early, because even if they damage you early, just take all those cards, because you want to put enough characters on the field where they're forced to answer, otherwise they're going to die. So you're just putting pressure on them so that they're forced to clear your board. But when you've got 5 characters on board, it's almost useless. And that's where then your defense events and Queen comes in handy at the end. It can be hard against a lot of decks. I think blue would be really hard if red aggro's it. I mean, if yellow gets some their big bodies out. So it's definitely, it's not the meta deck, but I definitely think it's probably better than some people think. You just need to play it right. It'll be interesting. I might play it in a few more events and see how we go against the more meta decks. It might not be great. Maybe I just did get lucky on that one day, but maybe try the deck out. Tell me how it works. If you find any cards that are cracked, like maybe you play Magellan and it works really great against Whitebeard, or maybe you play like the 9-cost Kaido and it really works, or anything, put it down in the comments if you have any success, or if you have any ideas or questions, put it down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, hit that bell, and thanks for watching, guys.
Awesome, thanks Shan, and we appreciate all the love and support from everyone, and we'll see you guys on the next video.